Nantz next Friday. Jim Nantz, Billy Packer. Hello, friends. And Billy, what about North Carolina and Iowa State? Let's get right to it. How do you break it down?
Well, what's going to be interesting here is going to be the style of plays. And for Iowa State, you watch a man who had a career blocks record the other day, 7 blocks he had, and he just controlled everything in the paint. Homan was outstanding on both ends of the floor. And Stinson, here you see him going around Vincent Greer, a beautiful reverse dribble. He's got that floater in the lane, extremely powerful guy down inside.
What do you see for the Tar Heels?
North Carolina has so many weapons, Jim, and we saw what they did last week with this young man right here. Marvin Williams coming in. He's just a freshman, but he's coming of age for this ball team. Will be heavily used today. And McCants is now back, suffering from that intestinal problem. Now back. He started the other day, looked extremely positive.
Iowa State's coach, Wayne Morgan, 2nd season as the head coach there in Ames, Iowa. His team 19-11 on the year. It's an excellent backcourt, plus a lot of strength in the pivot with Jared Homan, who had quite a game in the first-round win against Minnesota. Staple and Clark on the front line. It's Blalock and Stinson in the backcourt. Roy Williams, his 2nd season as well, back home in North Carolina. And the Tar Heel lineup back to full strength with Sean May, the anchor, Williams and McCants, Jackie Manuel, Raymond Felton in the backcourt. 28-4 in the year, meriting a #1 seed in this tournament.
Jim, Roy Williams obviously came from the Big 12. Homan is about the only person that he coached against on this basketball team. And, of course, Coach Morgan was not there as the head coach when Roy Williams was at Kansas.
Tip back to Homan and Iowa State with the first look. Blalock handling. Good matchup inside. Homan and May.
Be a lot of banging in there to see who can establish presence first. There's that leaner by Stinson. He normally will take that shot and probably should have there.
He was trying to feed Staple and the ball goes out of bounds. First possession, a turnover.
Jim, what'll be interesting here, Iowa State loves to press. North Carolina kind of likes to be pressed. Be interesting to see how that strategy works out.
Now they break it with ease the first time down the floor, but they'll reset.
Well, the ball goes to the corner to Manuel. Manuel does not want that jumper. That's where they wanted McCants. Example.
Underneath. Not enough spin. May, second chance. Homan thought he had the block. They call a foul instead.
May goes to the floor. Homan takes no prisoners on the inside. May bounces right up. Good pass inside. Good job by McCants to keep that ball alive. And there are those tremendous hands by May. Now, one of the things that's really different, North Carolina's extremely deep team at all positions with the exception of Raymond Felton. When you start talking about Iowa State, you're talking about 3 of their key players play over 35.5 minutes a game. Homan being one of those. It's tough to keep a guy out there 36 minutes a game to play the likes of May and Williams, who will come in for his place.
One break. That call did not go against Homan. The foul was on Clark instead. So the center, some may have thought it was going to go against Homan, but the freshman Clark gets whistled for it, and May knocks down to 2 free throws.
North Carolina straight man-to-man. As usual, Manuel, who's a terrific defender, made all ACC defensive.
Stinson picks it up. In and out. Right back to Clark. He has it. He takes it. Gets it.
Well, Staple and Clark both going after that ball. I thought they'd defend each other. Nice job by May. Ball was touched, so it's not backcourt.
Jawad Williams, open corner.
Frenetic pace right now, which is what Iowa State likes to do.
Blalock, he's racing. He'll pull back out as Felton shuts off the angle. Staple takes the jumper, and Iowa State hits 2 straight.
They are going to establish a pace, and they've proven that they can play that way from a standpoint of stamina. North Carolina with a press would like to have McCants down in the corner for his jump shot.
And that's a reach in. Stinson preventing Jawad Williams from going up. Iowa State this season, really a tale of 2 seasons. Started slow. In fact, 0-5 in the Big 12. And right after that, they reel off 7 straight wins, including at Texas, at Kansas. This is a team that had lost 28 consecutive road games in conference and then goes and wins at Austin and in Lawrence, the only team to win at Kansas this year.
And The only one other time in the Big 12 history has somebody beaten both of those teams on the road, and that was Missouri. This team has won 11 of their last 14 games, being knocked out by a team that's hot right now, Texas Tech, in the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, that was in the semifinals. They lost to Tech. They had beaten Tech during the season once. 2 missed free throws by Jawad Williams. Iowa State away from the ball. Staple is looking.
Is it an illegal screen, or was it Felton trying to get around it? Looks like it's going to be on Felton.
It is on Felton. Staple said, wait a minute, you can't call that on me. He was pointing toward him. But Iowa State, Billy, when it lost those 5 opening conference games, they dropped all the way to 161st on the computer, in the RPI. Now they find themselves playing for a berth in the Sweet 16 as Stinson hits the 3 from the corner.
North Carolina tries to go to a trap. Here it'll be interesting. Felton normally breaks traps and then gets the ball to this man, as he does. Now, one of the things you like against a trapping defense is to have somebody that can post up in the corner and hit jump shots, and that's what McCants can do.
McCants with a beautiful form, quick shot taken at the other end, and Carolina comes out with it.
And look for McCants to find a home down in that corner against this defense.
Traveling on Jawad Williams.
Well, Roy Williams wanted that ball hit ahead to McCants. He's shouting at Felton, and rightfully so.
The Tar Heels lost their opener at Santa Clara playing without Felton. But when he came back, 14 straight wins. They did not lose a game at home this year. 18-0. The last time they were undefeated at home was back in 1993, the last time Carolina won a national championship.
And there was the case. Roy Williams saw it right away. If you're Felton, get the ball down to the corner where McCants going to be wide open.
Into Homan, he can't handle it, but Clark tries to save it, and it did, in fact, touch Carolina last. This kid Clark, jumping around, freshman from Queens, New York, has had a great month, and confidence gained, it seems, every game now.
Jimmy had 14 points, 5 rebounds the other day, 4 steals. He was 5 for 8 from the floor, and as you said, it seems like every game now he's starting to pick it up. He had 20 points in the opening round of that Big 12 tournament. He is playing much, much better as the season goes on. Kicks that ball, loses it.
Felton comes out with it. Ahead to McCants.
And Roy Williams got his message across. Felton goes right to McCants.
Marvin Williams again in the lineup for North Carolina, number 24, the freshman.
Here you see the zone dropped way back inside the top of the key.
Jackie Manuel gives it up. Tipped around by Marvin Williams, but into the arms of Staple.
McCants normally can finish in there, but good shot blocking. Staple doing a good job. Homan, we know, all-time career shot blocker at Iowa State.
Stinson, tough shot. And Marvin Williams plucks it away. Marvin Williams led this team against Oakland with 20 points, tying his high.
Bad place to go, particularly if you're Manuel. You're not a real good ball handler. You don't want to get caught down underneath the basket.
Well defended anyway. Had he tried, well, he tried to get that pass out, it would have been picked off by the Cyclones in any case. Melvin Scott has just come in for North Carolina. Tar Heels behind early as this helter-skelter tempo of Iowa State the Cyclones have created, working to their favor at the start.
Jim, Scott, now they're going to be trapping out of this. Scott was on Clark. Bad cross-court pass.
Right back, Blalock had it. And Felton ends up with it. Manuel coming down the middle. And he'll head to the line for a pair.
Jackie Manuel getting much more aggressive on the offensive end of the floor. Against Oakland the other day, he was 5 for 6, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. A man normally dedicates his game to defense, but of late, he's going to the basket.
So Rashon Clark has 2 early fouls.
Jackie Manuel Sr., can you remember these guys? First game of their careers, North Carolina against Hampton. They lose at home. And now here they are with a chance to really go deep in the NCAA tournament. It's been quite a 4-year experience for this guy.
Jackie Manuel will shoot one more. You saw Tasheed Carr replace Clark in the lineup for Iowa State. These seniors had won only 4 ACC road games their first 3 years at Carolina. This year they won 6. Won 6-2 on the road, 14-4 overall, 14-2 overall in conference to win the regular season.
Manuel Stinson. Stinson giving up some size, but has good leaping ability. Good pass.
Carr comes right in, gets the assist to Staple. Carolina's missed his last 4 free throws. Jawad Williams missed 2 earlier. Then Jackie Manuel, you saw.
What this press has done, because Iowa State does a great job going from full court pressure back to zone defense. And there's Marvin Williams. Steps outside at 6'10".
And hits the 3.
Was 8 for 11, 20 points, 8 rebounds the other day. Big numbers for the freshman.
Homan. Nifty move, but tough shot. And Stinson almost pulled it away. Felton snaps it down to Scott inside. Manuel going back to the line where he just missed 2. Well, we get to the first break. 1-point lead, Cyclones. Stinson and company have the lead.
Saturday night. There.
Sensational double overtime game last night. Wake Forest scored on 10 of their first 11 possessions, but an incredible comeback by West Virginia, led by Mike Gans. He had 29 points in that game, and anybody who didn't stay up to watch it missed a great one. Teron Downey was just sensational, trying to keep his game in it. You know, Jim, and you're watching the tournament yesterday, there are losers in terms of score of the game, but to watch these kids play, there have not been losers in this NCAA tournament in that regard, as far as effort is concerned.
Vermont and Michigan State coming up for some of you. You said the ACC with only 1 loss. I thought it was 2. What about Boston College?
Okay. Well, you know, the way that the Big East has treated them, they may go ahead and put that way.
Yep, they'll be in the ACC next year, as BC was eliminated by Wisconsin, Milwaukee, moving on to the Sweet 16 in Chicago.
And Jim, for Jim Calhoun, he was 27-0 against teams 6 through 16. That's the first time he's ever been beaten by somebody with a seed 6 or higher.
That's Staple floating to his left. Tough shot.
Not a good shot.
David Noel has come into the Tar Heel lineup, number 34, and here he is.
Since Marvin Williams has come into the game, there has been a little different presence on the boards for North Carolina. There he is again.
And Homan finally says, give it back. Look at Marvin Williams. Scrappy play to May for the basket.
Now, with Williams and May, you're going to have to ask a lot of Homan to play against that caliber of player for 35-plus minutes.
Carolina's on a 7-0 run.
Cross court, Carr open.
Stinson sets it up, Staple. And he'll go to the line.
Nice job by Staple, realizing May was coming for the block, hesitated.
Staple is a senior from Kingston, Jamaica, and he too, like Clark, who was sitting with 2 fouls, he has come on of late, had double-digit rebounding games, 3 straight before the Minnesota game on Friday. That foul was on May. That's his first. And this one would have tied it.
The press has been somewhat taken off, and there's where McCants wants to be.
Blalock.
Good hands.
And quickness. And ahead to Stinson. He can dictate games.
And he likes to go up against a smaller man where he can use that power inside. He's got Scott on him.
That was Blalock set up for the open 3.
Boy, that was some rebound by Felton. The guy who can really get up in the air.
Stutter step drive. And off the rim.
North Carolina not getting many second chance opportunities in this game.
What a pass. Blalock ahead to Stinson. And the Cyclones regain the lead.
One of the things you love to see in a team is great ability to go from offense to defense and vice versa. Iowa State probably does that as well as anybody I've seen this year.
Marvin Williams with his second 3 of the game.
How about that? Delayed fast break and a 6'10" guy pulls up and hits it. Fast-paced game which really plays into North Carolina's hands. They are the #1 scoring team in the country. They like the pace of this game.
Homan. That ball, I think, deflected by May.
I think he got fouled.
May at the other end. So that foul called on Carr of Iowa State.
Jim, one of the things when you have big guys that are going to have to go at this pace, and you can see even Felton, who has had to play both ends here, is bending over right now. This is a game stamina is going to really be at a premium. Homan's got to be tired out there. He's getting big guys running against him every second.
This is Quentin Thomas coming in to give Felton a little breather. Thomas is a freshman from Oakland, California.
Felton is the only player in the North Carolina team that plays over 30 minutes a game, unlike the 3 Iowa State starters that very seldom come out.
Jawad Williams comes in for May.
So you have Williams and Williams, senior and freshman, out there right now as the 2 big men bookending for North Carolina. Noel takes Stinson. He gets the #1 defensive assignment.
Carr with McCants, watching him closely. Dumps it down low. Homan wanting to get into it on this end. Gets it back. What a muscle job that was, taking it away from Marvin Williams.
What was so great on that, Jim, as soon as he came down and hit the floor, his feet were going up again. What a dribble.
McCants.
What a dribble. To cross over in traffic that close to the basket is extremely difficult. Two pretty good sets of legs there with Stinson and Noel, isn't it? I mean, they're really put together.
That's Carr banging home a 3.
McCants has got to respect that outside shot. This is a good time to press North Carolina with Felton out of the ball game. Double team right here. Good idea.
Double up the freshman. Back door to McCants. All alone. And look at the shield by David Noel.
David Noel will not get an assist, Jim, but you hit it right on the money. It was a terrific block on his part to open things up for McCants, who didn't realize at first he was even open.
Carolina about to bring back Felton and May and Jackie Manuel. So they bring back 3 of the starters. That foul called on Thomas. Marvin Williams with 6 points, 6 rebounds to lead the Heels. Well, North Carolina has gotten a boost from freshman Marvin Williams coming in, hitting a pair of 3-point shots to lead the Cyclones 21-18. Here in Charlotte, North Carolina, where later today the Duke Blue Devils will go against Mississippi State. Such a rarity, Billy, to see North Carolina and Duke in the NCAA tournament on the same day, same floor.
But have never faced each other, so
that's right.
This is a way to orchestrate them, and unfortunately for the North Carolina and Duke fans, they're not playing each other.
They could meet, though, down the road in the national semifinals. That's Stinson of Iowa State putting it up wildly, and the Tar Heels trying to take advantage on the break. Manuel at the other end.
And this is where I said once the stamina factor sets in, Homan's going to have a hard time getting all the way back down the floor. North Carolina attacking that press.
Blalock.
And here they go again.
Another quick pass. Scott Williams.
Manuel keeps it alive. Williams should have gone with 2 hands.
Stinson will chase this one down. Felton beats him to it. Over the head. Back to Scott. Manuel now. He'll race one down and unable to grab it.
Jim, there is a difference. North Carolina, of course, some turnovers there, but Stinson never got over half court once this ball got away. They are really wearing down Iowa State at the pace of this game. Felton just had a chance to rest. Big difference when you get tired trying to run this pace of basketball game. Sometimes you don't mind, if you want this kind of pace as a coach, to go ahead and let guys make it frenetic, just to make sure that the pace. You see Stinson bent over down in the far corner.
Here's Stinson.
Oh, Homan put a body on May that time. Nice double down.
And that pass picked off. May lobs it ahead. McCants, good night.
If you're Wayne Morgan right now, you might want to call a timeout. And he is going to call a timeout. Very seldom do you want to call one for strategy. Most of the time it's strategy. This one, he just needs to rest his team.
Iowa State timeout. Carolina with a little 6-0 run.
To protect you from taste loss, take the taste challenge. Question 1. What should a real light beer look like?
Like beer?
That's right. Miller Lite has a rich golden color. Question 2. What should a real light beer taste like?
Like beer.
Correct. Miller Lite.
Was just exhausted. Now they'll get their second wind here, but for that stretch of about 2 or 3 minutes, North Carolina really put it on.
They got only 20 minutes total out of the bench on Friday. They played the first game Friday at noon here local time against Minnesota. Carr has been in for Clark, coming in off the bench. Clark with early foul trouble, a couple. They've got 5 on the shot clock, working it in the staple, left-handed. And that's going to stay with Iowa State.
McCants tried to go ahead and have Staple going out of bounds, hit it off his chest. It didn't quite work out. Pretty clever play.
There's Stinson. He's open.
That's the range he likes. Didn't get it to go. Boy, the guy that's really got fresh legs is Jackie Manuel. You notice how he's down the court so quickly?
Ran down the court a couple of times to beat everybody down the floor.
McCants telegraphed the pass. Good defensive play by Stinson.
Now Homan right here had 14 points, 13 rebounds against the Golden Gophers, and he's on the board with that basket. Plus 7 blocks on Friday. He's got 4 points now in this one.
When you're not exhausted, you've got a little better touch in the low post. Now they go back to the zone defense. You have to figure this pace may hurt McCants a little bit because of those games he missed with that intestinal problem.
May way outside. Well done, banking it home.
That 15, 18-foot jumper of his, he's got that range. And that brought Homan out farther than he'd like to be. Good steal, telegraph pass by Carr.
Williams saw it coming all the way. Boy, McCants makes that catch. You think he's going up with it because he's got range like you wouldn't believe.
I think you're going to find out it's tough to deliver inside there. What some play by Felton. So quick. And you notice Homan just not able to be so active against this team.
Carolina now has upped it to 9, largest of the game.
And obviously they have a crowd here too. This is a big North Carolina town, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Carr, he's already hit one, but not this one. Look at Stinson out battle a couple of players. And a foul call against North Carolina. They've hit 7 of their last 8 to lead. Jim Nantz and Billy Packer here in Charlotte. And you know, Billy, a week ago, Selection Sunday, we looked at the bracket, the Syracuse Regional. These teams are a part of that Syracuse bracket, and we designated this one as one of the monster brackets of all time. And my, how things have changed. Already the 2 UConn eliminated today, and the 3 Kansas going out on Friday.
Kind of interesting. Julius Hodge back in 02. Remember Caron Butler, he fouled him. He made the 3 fouls, and then Hodge missed the 3-pointer. And today, as a senior, he gets a chance to make the big 3-point play to put his team and advance him into the Sweet 16.
Blalock makes the shot at one end. Carolina misses the chippy with McCants. And they're running again, Iowa State.
That timeout really helps them. You can see them get rejuvenated every time they get a chance to stop.
Homan hits the jumper.
Well, if Marvin Williams can be the delayed break man, Homan says as a senior he can do it as well. Matching up in this zone right now. Got to be careful. McCants has got an opening.
Carr closes in on him to go back over to Marvin Williams. Not this time. And Stinson touched it last.
Well, he'd probably been best to let that ball go out of bounds, Jim. There was nobody there that could have got it. McCants sits. Scott goes in. This team, as I said, extremely deep with the exception of the Felton position.
The Cyclones come out of that break with a basket by Blalock and a jumper by Homan to cut this to 5. With 6.5 to go, first half.
You can see this matchup. Zone defense being played by Wayne Morgan's team right now. Very effective in it.
Manuel, he'll fire the three.
Yeah, and that's what really makes it effective. Over the back goes Williams. What really makes it effective, Jim, is when you throw the skip pass to a man who is not going to look for that shot, and if he takes it, more than likely he's not going to make it. For Manuel this year, he is now 6 for 17 from 3. Only has made 6 threes all year long. So that the defense can go ahead and match up with that and let him have the shot.
That foul, the first on Marvin Williams, and only the 15th foul on Carolina. Look at Felton fighting for it. They say Blalock knocked it out.
Blalock, who's gained 30 pounds and gotten so much stronger, almost was able to push Felton off there.
Felton's got back in the game, and he's rifling from the corner. Tipped around to the Cyclones. It's Blalock. Gets a shield from Homan, who then gets the ball and lays it in.
Terrific comeback here, and you can see how much better this team is when they get just a slight rest.
Double up on Manuel. They've cut it to 3. Manuel gets free. And he's able to hang on the rim to prevent injury. And the foul's going to be on Homan. Coming up, singular at the half. Greg, Clark, and Seth will get you caught up on all the tournament news and a live look at all the action going on in the NCAA tournament, plus a singular Naismith update. It's all coming up on Singular at the half.
Jim, good call there, because you can hang on the rim if there's a danger of injury with a man underneath you, and Homan was under Manuel at the time.
And that free throw breaks the 6-point run by the Cyclones.
Saw the all-time technical. You see Manuel go in there last night. Coach Beeline of West Virginia got a technical when he had laryngitis and you couldn't speak. The referee must have read his mind on that technical as to what he said. I haven't ever seen that call before.
I don't like what you were thinking. That's a technical.
That's exactly right.
Must have been.
Good help.
Pull up, Blalock. Had a great look. Reach in, almost taken away by Staple.
Boy, Manuel has got an afterburner today.
They hit the trailer, but Stinson closes down that alley.
Nice fundamental stop by Williams on that play.
Scott, he can shoot it. Not this time. Almost got pinned. And a travel call against Manuel.
And Manuel felt he was pushed, and he was. But Staple, with that good strength, just moved him out of the way.
Rashon Clark is back in for Iowa State. You see David Noel returning for Carolina. Clark inbounds, and he was hit with 2 early fouls, so let's see what kind of spring he has. I would expect he's ready to go.
Jim, look at Homan over on the bench. He's just grasping for air, trying to get himself back into this ball game. Gets a well-deserved rest and a good shot.
That's Carr, and he's going to the line. Chance to cut this to 2.
Young man grew up on a farm. He knows what it's like to put in some hard work.
That's right. He said it made him who he is, getting up early, all that hard work. I'm not afraid of hard work. Foul on Scott of North Carolina. And Tasheed Carr, freshman from Philadelphia, can bring the Cyclones within 2. He's got 6 off the bench.
Wayne Morgan doing a terrific job, I think, with a much shorter bench, getting his guys some minutes and some rest here.
Scott gets another try. This time he knocks it in from the corner.
What you like about a senior there is he wasn't afraid to take the shot. Had 27 starts last year, so he's got a lot of experience.
I think he got a lot of confidence, too, when McCants was out. Here's Stinson trying to match it at the other end, and May with those big mitts.
You're looking at a team that is not a good three-point shooting team. They were 12th in the Big 12.
Marvin Williams.
Iowa State only shoots 29% from three-point range. And out of 65 teams in this year's NCAA tournament, that ranks 63rd.
Well, they tie it up. Stinson and the arrow. The ball's going to North Carolina. Carolina on a 5-0 run. Milwaukee makes its first ever Sweet 16. Bob Knight going back to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1994. Arizona, the only 3 seed to survive the first weekend. And how about the job by Coach Bob Knight? He's taken his team to Albuquerque. And the last time he went to a Final Four, as you see Felton off, Jawad Williams tip.
Bad tip. He should have caught that ball with 2 hands, keeping it alive.
Last time Bob Knight went with Indiana, he came out of Albuquerque back in '92. Remember that? Beat
Absolutely.
UCLA. Blew him out in the final. Stinson, jumper for 2.
are talking about Albuquerque Regional, not Albuquerque Final Four, where another guy from around here did all right. Valveno.
And they say again, Stinson touched it last again. We're down to 3.5 to go, first half. Carolina's knocked down 4 threes and leads it by 5.
It really has served him well at Iowa State so far. There you see the zone defense again matching up. Look for McCants in the corner. Williams outside can also extend the zone. There's McCants.
Steps over and unable to get clear up ahead. It's Clark breaking free.
And McCants did 2 things wrong there. He took the bad shot, and then the man that was guarding him just released, and McCants went into no man's land and did nothing. Great pass to make up for it.
Wow, they got that right past Clark, and Marvin Williams makes the lay-in. It's a 3. Carr thought he had it.
Marvin Williams pretty sure-handed when he goes up for a rebound, isn't he?
He really is. That's Homan.
Oh, there's a hold. Yep.
That's the sure hands you were talking about.
Absolutely. There is the hold. Carr had an opportunity to be breaking loose. And they really break well out of that zone, matchup zone.
They call that on McCants. Should be a 1-and-1 for Carr. And tonight on CBS, the Jerry Tarkanian story comes to life.
To the Sweet 16, trying to go there again. The winner. Al Torber. Oh!
If you didn't have 3 officials, there's no way that that foul would have been called. They did a terrific job covering a court that has to be covered from end to end today. Terrific piece of officiating there.
Look at this passing. Oh, Marvin wins. How about the body control?
Homan is saying, hey, I'm the career shot block leader. Don't create something like that on me.
Worked it back up to 7. And Felton, what a steal. Takes the jumper.
That was long. You can see it. There's Williams again, almost getting another rebound.
Last 2 minutes now. Iowa State closed fast against Minnesota in both halves on Friday. Can they do it again? This is McCants. And that's 2 here late in the going.
Jim, mental breakdown there, not moving his feet for McCants. Why would you foul a Stinson who does not want to take the outside 3-point shot?
Sean May has just returned to the North Carolina lineup, and McCants sent to the bench with his 2nd foul, as Curtis Stinson will be at the line for Iowa State to shoot a 1-on-1. North Carolina's had a lead as large as 9. That got trimmed right back down to 2. Now they've worked it back up again to 7 here in the first half. Marvin Williams coming off the bench with another big performance, just like the one he had.
MLB 2006. Nothing is more true.
This year, Stinson had his high of 30 points that night, but his big game was that 29-point game in that win against Kansas. They have had a common opponent, which Iowa, which North Carolina took care of handily. Iowa State lost to. Good recognition in the matchup zone.
Fire the 3 from the corner. Noel and Homan the only one underneath.
Wayne Morgan to give him that shot all day long.
They keep breaking early. Stinson misses the short one. Boy, they had some chances inside. I haven't been able to.
Got the numbers now.
But Blalock will let his defense reset as he knocks it out. As we were talking about a little bit earlier, the Syracuse bracket, heralded by many, including us, to be one of the toughest brackets we've ever seen. And it's not quite working out the way everybody figured it would. North Carolina, Iowa State winner will advance to Syracuse. Kansas in this bracket has already been knocked out, and earlier today UConn eliminated as well.
Well, Jim, I said on Selection Sunday there are 5 teams there that can win a national championship, and so far 2 of those are gone, long gone.
Well, the only team so far officially in that Sweet 16 site for Friday is NC State. after its win earlier today against Connecticut. Felton steps up. He's short. And no one touched it. It'll belong to Iowa State with less than a minute to go.
Well, I talked about three-point shooting, and Iowa State was 63rd out of 65 teams in the NCAA tournament. North Carolina ranks 7th at 40% from three. But they're not hitting out there because they're getting the ball. They're 2 for 6 so far, and they're getting the ball to the wrong players in the corners. Scott delivered from there, and McCants did as well, but they've got to get those fellas in the corners against this matchup zone.
Homan, he's hit one jumper from out here. Not this one, and it's Felton coming down low for the rebound. And he can certainly weave through a lot of traffic.
He can, but good transition defense by Iowa State. Good as any team I've seen this year, getting back on D.
Scott, not this time. On the floor, May. Yes. 21 seconds to go, and Carolina back up now to its largest lead, matching its largest lead of 9.
Now 2 of 7, though, from 3.
Homan, and it's Carolina ball with 7.5 seconds to go.
Plenty of time. Let's see if McCants goes back into the ball game now to get. Yes, he does.
So does Rashon Terry come in for North Carolina.
See, going to put shooters on the floor. This is a good move by Roy Williams. Now, no matter how they play that matchup zone, he's got Terry, although he's cold, pretty decent shooter from one wing, McCants from the other, Williams from outside. Surprised they're not pressing right here.
Will they go to the locker room with a double-digit advantage? Felton
Wow.
with 3, fires the low.
Oh, wow.
Indeed. North Carolina gets the unexpected 3. Felton, who's improved so much this year from outside, but that was way outside.
How about McCants giving it up, putting it right back in Felton's hand, who was supposed to be the distributor?
I guess he knew what he was doing.
Absolutely.
Well, just when Iowa State had cut the lead to 2 at 31-29, North Carolina closes it out in the first half with a 14-4 spurt to give them the lead of 12. Raymond Felton. We've reached halftime. North Carolina 45 and Iowa State 33. We've got Greg Clark and Seth on the road to the Final Four in a moment.
There it is.
There what is?
The Harley I almost bought.
I love that color. Is that
Black?
black?
It's black.
That almost looks great.
Well, I can almost hear that big V twin.
Almost won't get you there.
Tomorrow, what happens when your new boss is barely older than your son?
He's a real smart kid. A real chip off the old grandfather?
Still standing. Then it's the showbiz event of the year when Tony and his daughter team up.
Tatum O'Neal did a movie with her dad and then spent the next 16 years in rehab.
A new Listen Up after a new Still Standing. CBS tomorrow.
This year's spring break is gonna bite. Spring Break Shark Attack, CBS tonight.
There's a movement for better TV. A movement that in just 1 year found more people choosing DirecTV over all other cable and satellite providers combined. It's a movement for top-ranking customer satisfaction and 100% digital quality on every channel. There's a movement. You in?
Who decides what the next big thing in TV is? Who judges which innovations bring TV to the next level? The answer is easy. You do. DirecTV never stops looking for ways to bring you the best TV possible. Maybe that's why we've been ranked #1 in customer satisfaction 3 years running. Putting our customers first. Just another example of how DirecTV is rethinking the way television should be.
With DirecTV Pay-Per-View, you have the best seat in the house. No driving, no lines, no hassle. Just a huge selection of today's top movies ready at the push of a button. Use our first 5 minutes free feature to try before you buy, starting at channel 125. DirecTV Pay-Per-View, always the best seat in the house.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half, sponsored by Singular, raising the bar.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Singular at the Half. I'm Greg Gumbel. Along with Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis, we are at halftime in 3 of our games. There is a 4th in progress in Worcester, Massachusetts. 5th seed Michigan State with a 22-18 lead on the Catamounts of Vermont, the number 13 seed in the Austin region. Let's join Michigan State's lead on Vermont, 24-21. We'll keep you updated as they head toward halftime. Thanks for joining us here on Singular at the Half. Back to Nashville for the second half of Villanova and Florida in just a moment.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half, sponsored by Singular, raising the bar.
Look at this place. What do these guys have that we don't have?
Well, they do have the rotary-powered Mazda RX-8, the Tribute, Mazda 3, 2005 Automobile Magazine All-Star, and the thing no one else has, Zoom, Zoom.
Okay, we got it.
It's the Mazda's on the Move sales event. For a limited time, lease the Mazda 3i 4-door for just $179 a month for 36 months with $19.99 due at lease signing.
Call you back.
Hurry, offers.
Well, field goal shooting percentage about the same, but the three-point percentage is something a little bit different. And Iowa State, as we pointed out, would have a hard time coming back if they had to rely on threes, where they have a rough time. Steals, North Carolina had 9. It didn't seem that way. That Iowa State did a terrific job getting back on defense, and there's Homan and Marvin Williams coming off that bench with a huge first half. 12 points, 10 rebounds, and made it really tough for Homan having to go up against May and Williams not getting a rest. Minutes played is extremely important too. You had Clark played 18 minutes, Staple 19 minutes, Stinson 19, Blalock 20, and Homan played 19. So not much rest for the weary in that first half for Iowa State. They'll need to use their timeouts wisely.
Stinson with a jumper. Cyclones crash the board, but Carolina comes out with it with Felton. As you said, though, in the first half, Iowa State's accustomed to going most of the way with their starters.
3 of their players are among the top 5 in minutes played in the Big 12. And those 3 are the 3 key players. Pass lazy.
And Homan knocked it away, set up the steal, and last touch by Carr. Oh, no, they're going to give it back to North Carolina.
Well, everybody thought that that was a travel violation by Stinson, but he never touched the ball. So although it was a strange-looking dribble, it was a legal dribble. Blalock going out high to take care of Felton.
It's May banging bodies to get some room, and on his back is Staple.
You know, Staple was holding his ground. You saw how May lowered that shoulder in there, Jim. Got by with a foul.
Carolina, the high-octane Heels, lead the nation in points, point differential, assists. Steals are third. I mean, these are just the rack-up numbers that lead to not only a #1 seed, but you would think great possibilities even beyond a regional. A regional in Syracuse that's certainly taking form in a way that no one expected. I think, Billy, the Kansas loss the other night to Bucknell, in my mind, I know it was just a 14 over a 3, but I think you could build the case that might have been the biggest upset in the history of the tournament in the modern age since they went to seeding. I know we've had 4 times a 15 beat a 2. Here's Williams. And Iowa State, 2 players there battling, and Stinson will bring it up.
Good block-out situation by Iowa State, and there's that transition.
Oh, my goodness, he left his feet. Oh, called on Carolina's Jackie Manuel.
Now, you can be moving, but Stinson loves this shot. See if Manuel ever has defensive position. You know, I think that the official was right, because Stinson had left the floor before Manuel had established a defensive position.
It's 2 on Manuel. Benson gets it to go this time.
The man from New York figures out a way to get off the playground shot.
Breaks over a 4-minute stretch without making one, and they force another turnover.
No.
Benson got Clark on the wing. He'll take it himself. And May sends it all the way over to McCants. You were saying 25 feet away.
Jim, you were saying he'll take it himself? Push off by Williams, gets by with it.
Well, he should have probably given it up.
Good hustle by May, who wouldn't have been able to do that a year ago. He's just in such great shape.
May scores at the other end.
Incredible ball handling by Felton.
So right back to 48-35 North Carolina. Homan out high. And Blalock, that shot never had a chance. There's May really hustling right now.
Yeah, he doesn't care if it's McCants or somebody from Iowa State. Hey, the ball is mine. This young man.
McCants, look at that rotation. Rattles out. It's May again underneath.
Jim, there is rotation. A big guy like May playing both ends of the floor. Terrific hustle on his part. He conditioned himself this summer, and it's made him just a sensational. There he goes again.
Boy, he has just owned the glass here in this half. Plus a monster rejection.
Well, he's the #2 rebounder in the ACC, and we'll see the #1 rebounder in the second game.
Staple is whistled for another one. Here it is, the block.
Oh, look at that hustle by the big guy. Great timing. And that ball was not on the way down. You know, Stinson probably should have dunked that ball, Jim. Then he at least could have got a goaltend out of it.
It just left his fingertips.
You know, May this summer would get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. He would run sprints. He would run long 440s. Then he would lift weights. Then he'd go back, take a nap, go to class, then come back and do it all over again in the afternoon. And boy, what that dedication has it meant to the son of a guy who was the National Player of the Year back in '76. He's got to be so proud of him.
In the first 3 minutes of this half, 5 points and 4 rebounds. And a blunt block shot that is quite a highlight on its own. And they tip it back to the Tar Heels, who are trying to go for the knockout blow here in the opening minutes of the second half.
And Jim, he gets to sit down. Homan has to stay on the floor, and the man who had the great first half, Williams, is back in there now to cause problems. There he is.
Williams.
Homan probably says, you know, does that bench ever end?
Had that double-double in the first half. The freshman.
And coming off of 20 points against Oakland. Game's getting serious right now for Iowa State because of their lack of outside three-point shooting.
Stinson working hard, giving it up. Staple hacked on the way up. But this is an Iowa State team that found ways to win in unfriendly buildings.
We have a little situation right here. Stinson's putting his elbow right in McCants' face. And McCants not backing down. Stinson not backing down either. That's not a good situation. Officials need to get in the middle of that, and they are.
Keep an eye on that matchup. CBS Sports Line keeps you on top of all the men's tournament action. Get real-time bracket updates and picks for each and every round, all at CBSSportsLine.com.
Stinson has played in the Rucker League in New York, so and they call him blue collar coming from the Rucker League, so you know he doesn't mind sticking that elbow up there if he has to. McCants is laughing at him.
My point, Billy, a moment ago about that upset win by Bucknell. When you look at the twos as May comes back to the lineup, they got shocked in the first round. Coppin stayed over South Carolina. It's not like South Carolina is always been a lofty #2 seed.
I agree.
Santa Clara's produced players like Steve Nash, etc. They beat Arizona. Sure, it was a shock. Richmond over Syracuse. Hampton over Iowa State. Same thing for Iowa State. We're talking about Kansas, #1, almost all season long in the RPI, against a team that doesn't even give scholarships out of the Patriot League. Up ahead, Blalock. And Marvin Williams says, let me get into the act here with the blocks.
And see Marvin Williams being fresh. McCants went up. Should have caught that ball with 2 hands on the steal. Didn't get it, but is saved. There, he should have caught that ball. But there you see Williams just going to get it. Now Williams intercepts the ball. And he can dribble it. North Carolina putting constant pressure on Iowa State, who's really wearing down now.
McCants adds 3 more, and it's up to 20.
Time for another timeout, and Wayne Morgan is going to take it. This is smart. He doesn't want to see his team not have at least a little bit of a fresh leg.
A 10-2 run. It's getting away from Iowa State, and they know it.
Triple cross. Boom, 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 in. Watch what happens with Felton. Oh, I'm crossing back. Oh, I'm crossing over. Oh, I'm crossing under. What a ball player out there. And I will say this, he's a fantastic ball handler, sees the court so well. But what we have right now, and I thought this was going to take place, you have an Iowa State team who plays a game that North Carolina likes. And the tempo of this game, with a much deeper bench of North Carolina, has really played into their hands, even at times when it got sloppy early on. Wayne Morgan has called 2, I think, very smart timeouts to try to give his guys at least some legs.
Clark off on a 3, and that's tipped over by the Tar Heels. It stays with the Cyclones. We're heading to another break under 16 minutes. North Carolina on a tear here, 24-6 tear to go up 20. Just his second season back at Chapel Hill. You know, an oddity, Billy, in all of his years at Kansas, he never won the Big 12 tournament and marched on to the Final Four in the same year. All 4 years he went to the Final Four with the Jayhawks. They got knocked out of the Big 12. And now this year, of course, after winning the ACC regular season, they were knocked out by Georgia Tech in the ACC. A good sign, perhaps, for things to come, as Homan scores on the inside.
Yep, this is his 16th straight NCAA tournament as a coach, and he is the only coach in the country that has 16 years where he's won at least one game.
Marvin Williams is going to the line. What a performance for the second straight game for the freshman from the state of Washington.
Well, he's got the great range on his jump shot. Here he goes inside. He's a strong finisher, has good hands, a great shot blocking ability, runs the court extremely well, and gives that man right there, Sean May, an opportunity to sit down occasionally so he doesn't have to play those 30-plus minutes a game.
Billy, I'm going to stretch this out a little bit here. Marvin Williams, named after Marvin Gaye.
All right.
And the Tar Heel team has adopted this song for the tournament. This is the theme song for the Heels. Let's get it on.
And what was it, his mother that heard the song or went to a concert and heard Marvin Gaye sing and had it in her mind?
I'm just glad the theme song's Let's Get It On and not What's Going On.
Well, he knows what's going on. North Carolina's been in the man-to-man defense this entire ball game. And again, the woeful outside shooting, and there he is getting that rebound. I guess May allows him to get a couple of rebounds every once in a while.
Here's May. Which way they'll call it. Going against Iowa State.
Oh, absolutely.
Carr. He's trying to draw a little foul, but
May with the great drop steps down inside. Very difficult. He can go right and he can go left.
This time he's fouled by Homan.
Now, Homan is extremely tired right now. Played so many minutes, and normally he can play those minutes where he's under control, but today the tempo has just forced him to move so much up and down his court.
Well, they actually say that was before the shot.
Wow, Homan is, there's going to be some trouble under the basket right now. Homan is starting to throw some really wicked elbows. There's some frustration on the part of Iowa State. The officials are going to have to pull these guys together. They stretch the zone out.
What a pass. Manuel unable to finish it off. Somehow that pass squeezed in there on one bounce. Clark on the drive, and he scores.
Well, good job by North Carolina, although Manuel didn't finish on that play. And I don't know where Manuel's going before Felton and May get down the floor. But when they pull that matchup zone out that far, oh boy, and there's why they pull it out. Felton, 31% three-point shooter prior to this year. This year, 44%. Just great work ethic on his part.
That was in another life. He's the same guy out there now. Stinson. And Williams again says no one will have it but me.
Now Homan is just so tired. Normally that'd be a rebound he could vie for.
Marvin with 12 boards. May.
Good steal.
Off the second bounce. Stinson steals it. And it'll be Iowa State ball. You know, I was talking about Albuquerque, what is really the West bracket, but we call it now the Albuquerque bracket. You got Washington with a most impressive win against Pacific yesterday. We'll take on the winner of the Louisville-Georgia Tech game later today. And Texas Tech, Bobby Knight. What an effort. What a job. And West Virginia eliminates the two out there. Wake Forest and what to this point has been the game of the tournament.
Well, Ronald Ross at Texas Tech may have played 2 games better than anybody in this tournament so far. Bobby Knight said, I've never had a player I've had more admiration for than Ronald Ross. That's a strong statement coming from Bob Knight.
You know, you mentioned Bobby Knight. He and Coach Dean Smith, the most tournament appearances in NCAA history.
Well, still alive, the only man not in the Hall of Fame out of that group. He's taken 4 different teams to the NCAA tournament, and he's taken 2 to the Final Four. Lute Olson still alive. Very impressive in his region so far.
Lute Olson already in the Hall of Fame, and Coach Sutton was a finalist a year ago.
And Jim, we see Dean Smith up there. His record, one that I don't think will ever be broken. Forget about games won. He went 13 years in a row to the Sweet 16.
Yep.
I don't think anybody will ever come close to that record.
And Iowa State struggling even at the line, even with that make now, 2 of 8. He had that long stretch talking about Coach Smith until 1994 when Boston College beat him in this round.
Oh, did you see Stinson threw the elbow before he took the shot?
He was trying to draw the three-point play and comes away with nothing. It's Jawad, McCants, and to the line.
Watch this elbow. He's going to throw the elbow out to gain. See this? And tried to gain room. Williams stayed right there and didn't go for it. Oh, man, that could have been a dangerous play right there. You know, and if you're Wayne Morgan, you want your guys to be competitive. But I think if the referees don't control it, as a coach, you want to get your guys to calm down. They've had a great year. They're playing against a superior team today, and they don't want to lose it.
3 on Homan.
Jim, you know, we're talking about some history now and some trivia. There's a guy by the name of Steve Kraftsisson who coached as an assistant at Iowa State, but he did something nobody else has ever done in the NCAA tournament. He played in 2 Final Fours, and he's the only man for 2 different teams that scored in the Final Four on 2 different teams.
You know, he played for, let me get this, Iowa
and North Carolina.
And there is another guy, Bob Bender, right?
Yeah, but he didn't score.
Played for Indiana and Duke in Final Fours. There's Carr. I don't know if you're trying to get me on.
No, Kraftsisson's the only guy that scored for 2 different teams in the Final Four. Bender played on 2, Indiana and, of course, Duke.
And that's Stinson scoring. Now, what was the Kraftsisson tie here? He was an Iowa State.
He was an Iowa State assistant. How about that? That's some triple for you.
There's Felton. That's blocked and tipped out to Jawad, and a foul. Getting a little aggressive out here and physical. And you can vote for your Pontiac game-changing performance of each round. Nearly $150,000 in scholarship contributions is on the line. Take action and vote now at ncaasports.com/Pontiac. So Jawad Williams heads to the line for a 1-and-1. Jawad, some will tell you around that North Carolina program, may have been the most consistent Tar Heel all season long. Senior from Cleveland, Ohio.
You know what? He's been consistent when all the problems were taking place at North Carolina. Recruited as a McDonald's All-American, he was always loyal both to his coach and to his school, and really is one of the guys that helped keep that program together.
Staple is stuck. And Stinson, who picked up that foul a moment ago, his second.
Wants the screen. Noel and Williams do a nice job getting out on him. Reverse dribble coming.
Staple takes the shot.
But his team just cannot shoot from the outside.
Stinson scoops it over to Staples to keep it in play. Hold on before the shot. Carolina wanting a travel call. But instead, it's a foul against Jawad Williams. We'll be right back.
Class. Nobody's back for defense.
Well, that was called on Stinson with the charge, his third.
Well, there's a young man that's going to have to develop Jim a jump shot to become a more complete player, because he has the great mid-range game and he's extremely powerful going to the hoop, but he is no threat from the outside. And there you see some more banging.
And you can see his frustration. We've watched it all half.
I don't like what I'm seeing out here right now, to be quite honest with you. This game could get very dangerous.
That's 4 on Stinson. Here's a look at the Austin bracket, and Utah and Kentucky. This is amazing how many times now they have collided in NCAA tournament play. I mean, it's just not, it's not like they're from the same part of the country.
You know what Rick Majerus used to say? I'm going to put them on my schedule so the NCAA tournament committee doesn't keep matching me up with them.
Do you know this will be the 6th time since 1993? I looked it up. 6th time since 93 they have met in the NCAA tournament. And there were 2 other times since 93 where they were on track in the same bracket to meet. It's almost automatic. Okay, let's see. We got Kentucky in this bracket. Okay, somebody give me Utah's name. We got to put them in there too. Homan, nice shot that time.
And of course they met in the championship game, and Rick Majerus had the lead at halftime as he walked off the floor. But then Kentucky came back to win it all in '98.
That was the last time Utah was in the Sweet 16 in that championship game of '98. But they did turn around and met again in the NCAA a couple of years ago in Nashville. And Kentucky's won every one of those matchups in the NCAAs. They'll meet next week in Austin. Ball squirts out to Blalock. Stinson trailing. Blalock takes it. Oh, wow, Clark, what a move.
This young man's going to be an outstanding player, Jimmy, coming on very strong. And now you've got Stinson and Blalock both picking up some fouls. Wayne Morgan is a black belt in karate. And right now, I think he needs to tame his team down a little bit.
I was wondering what you're going to say. Did you think he's going to like employ that?
No. I think now the tactic is to get away from the karate and to say, let's play this game out.
That was called on Blalock. 60 Minutes tonight on CBS. Visit a place where the people have no concept of time, so how did they know it was time to flee before the tsunami hit? That story's on 60 Minutes tonight. We were talking the other day to Coach Morgan as Felton's at the line, and about Ames, Iowa being a great place to live and raise a family, and how really everyone in town is a Cyclone. 51,000 population. You got 26,000 student body at Iowa State, 14,000 employees of the school who live in Ames. So everybody essentially, you know, don't count the kids in that 40,000 total count toward Iowa State, but it is a great college town and a tough place to play. And Iowa State, this reign of Wayne Morgan, 30-4 at home. That's Blalock.
Hey, finally a three-point shot. Felton beats 2 of the best guards in the country on the dribble. Now, when they come out higher like this, Felton will look to get the ball down inside.
Stinson's out there, Billy, with 4 fouls.
Yep. They're matching up right now.
They had no scores down 16. Got to have him on the floor. Jawad. May. And he's going to the line.
Well, I think Homan's getting great respect for May right now in the fact that not only does he have all the shots, he doesn't mind banging. Picked as the USA Basketball, along with Chris Paul's Men of the Year this year for the great job they did winning the gold medal in the junior qualifying. And he can play.
Roy Williams and his heels 9 minutes away from the Sweet 16.
What if we replaced everyone's choice?
First season as head coach at his alma mater. They were eliminated in this round out in Denver by the University of Texas.
Jim, you talked about the greatest upset, and you got my mind working here now. On this floor, there was almost the great upset. I guess it might not have been this court. No, it would have been the old Charlotte Coliseum.
Yeah.
James Madison in '82 in Charlotte almost beat the great team with Worthy and Jordan and Perkins.
Is that the Jimmy Braddock game?
That's right.
Where the cheerleaders were on the floor at the end?
Absolutely, 52-50. That would have been an upset there.
What do you think about my logic on the Bucknell win in perspective?
You got my mind working, and I don't like that. I like to be a little bit more relaxed there.
It's a scary thing. 7.5 to play. And Carolina
totally in control.
Yep, they have been really since the opening minutes of the second half. Marvin Williams again. Let's get it on, he says. He's going back to the line. He's got 15 rebounds, a career high. We'll go for the three-point play when we come back. Big man, Jared Homan.
Well, I really like the competitive nature of that guy right there. I'll tell you what was competitive, Jim. Something happened in St. Louis yesterday that Iowa State did fairly well. They won the National Intercollegiate Wrestling Championship for the 3rd year in a row with 5 national champions. Pretty strong. So they have been to St. Louis this year for a national crown. It will not be in basketball, however, but they are controlling the world of wrestling. For a while, I thought this was going to turn into a wrestling match.
But it's been a takedown for Carolina most of this second half as Homan uses the left hand effectively. He's up to 14 for the game.
Now a little zone trapping by Iowa State. It's a wonder that they have any legs left. This game was determined early on when they were not going to change their strategy and were going to turn into a run game. North Carolina just too deep for them on the bench. Too many quality athletes with quickness and ability. McCants doesn't want to go bang in there into Homan. That's going nowhere.
Homan, though, giving a little chest bump of his own. McCants hits the side of the glass, and that's a shot clock violation. North Carolina has had some fast break buckets here today. Let's take a look.
Well, there was May getting down the floor. Manuel, I thought Jackie Manuel at the beginning of this game had the best legs I've seen him have ever. A senior who does not want to have his last game come until they've taken down those nets in St. Louis. He came out here really moving and did a great job on Stinson early on in the ball game.
Homan. Clark soar to tip it in.
No block out there by North Carolina. May wisely comes back to help bring the ball up the court.
Billy, you talked about all those times that Coach Smith had the Tar Heels into the Sweet 16, that remarkable streak, and Felton mixed the floater. That streak that went all the way up to 1993. The last time, though, this program made it to a Sweet 16 was 2000. It's been a long stretch by their standards. 2001, things started to go the other way in the tournament. We were there to see it.
Yep.
Second round loss down in the Superdome to Penn State.
Yeah, and that was just a bad day. Bad body language. It was a North Carolina team that did not come to play. Penn State took them out early. Probably the beginning of the end, wouldn't you say?
It really was that day.
Yep.
Because it was a team that had won 26 games in the season. Yep. But after opening up with a win against Princeton, first round,
I remember
Penn State shot them down in the Superdome, and things never turned around. They kept going south the next year.
Yep. Do you remember there was a huddle, timeout huddle, and they came out of the huddle, and Joseph Forte went in one place, and 4 other players went somewhere else. And you said, you know, things are just not right here, and Penn State had no trouble handling the Tar Heels that day.
So 16 minutes away, and McCants. 16 points with 5.5 minutes to play. McCants makes it now 18, and they're racing for more.
There's Manuel, who has been running all day. Not a primary ball handler. You know what I think happened here? Felton, who has the great peripheral vision. When you're shooting a jump shot, you want to really zero in on the rim. He has such great peripheral vision that I think he saw Stinson coming. Normally, you know, your vision wouldn't be that good. That's one time that his peripheral vision hurt him.
Let's check the CBS Sportsline stat of the game. And Iowa State only 4 made free throws and only 4 out of 10. So been quite a difference between these two teams at the line today, with all those extra chances. All the foul trouble for Iowa State.
Well, it's amazing the success they had against Texas Tech. They were 0 for 6 from 3. And then, of course, the other day against Minnesota, they were 2 for 8 from 3. They battle inside, but they have a tough time on that perimeter.
Stinson back into Homan, who keeps working hard. The farm boy from Iowa going to the line.
Boy, does he compete.
From Remsen, Iowa, Jared Homan, given his all. And the senior for Iowa State will shoot one.
Jim, you remember early in the first half when he was going up and down the court and they took him out just for about a minute. And he sat over there and he was gasping for breath. But this guy really competes.
And still is, but still
out there playing.
Yep, 17 points and 16 rebounds. The rebound total a career high. Felton whips it over to Manuel, and that's going back the other way.
Well, Manuel ought to catch that ball, but he doesn't have the greatest of hands. That ball is put away by May, Williams, or McCants.
An Iowa State team that 5 times this year beat ranked opponents. And that's going to be called on Scott, and that'll send Homan back to the line. They had the 5 wins, the Cyclones, over ranked teams. The only teams with more wins over ranked teams, Illinois, and the 2 who met last night, Wake Forest and West Virginia.
Right. Tell you that game last night, Teron Downey, you know, a senior that didn't want to play his last game, makes a 3 in regulation to put it in overtime. Then after the first overtime, makes another 3. Paul fouls out. The West Virginia players just would not quit.
You saw Wake so many times this season. What went wrong in the end for him last night?
Well, I think it's been in games that they lost, and there weren't many this year, Jim. They hadn't proved, and this is something that any team that's going to win a national championship has to do. You have to prove you can shut people off for a period of 3 to 4 minutes at a time, and they were never able to do that.
And a reach-in call. It's going against Blalock.
And Felton down. And here's where you have to say, it's time to get him out of the ball game. This game is very physical. Iowa State very competitive, and their kids are strong.
But you take them out, Billy. They've worked it with a little 11-4 stretch. Worked it down to 13. 4:21 left here in Charlotte.
Vertical, 27 inches. Ball velocity, 119. Cleat size, 11.5. Let's move, man. Let's go! Go!
Baseball. Right down to the smallest details. MLB 2006. Nothing is more true to the game. Rated E for everyone.
Well, there you see it, Billy.
At 4 for 12 from 3, it is very difficult, and this has been a great gutty comeback by Iowa State, but it's very difficult to come back when you're a team that just does not shoot that well on the perimeter.
You know, that timeout called just a moment ago by North Carolina is the first one they've called in 2 games in this tournament. They came out of the box against Oakland, Greg Campy's team that had won the opening round game and stormed through the Mid-Continent Conference tournament, surprising everyone. They came out and hit 14 of the first 16 on Friday night and had assists on all 14 of those baskets at the beginning.
And this is a pair.
How about this? This could get interesting here. That's Clark racing, and he's fouled on the way up.
May had to get back, and you see a group of guys that are wanting to compete, extremely tired, but still running the floor. Clark has had an outstanding tournament. He's played very well down the stretch. Says something to Felton. They are not backing down, are they, Iowa State?
Not at all, and that's 3 on May.
Iowa State in some serious foul trouble themselves with key players. Big miss there.
Iowa State with 3 players saddled with 4 fouls.
Jim, in the Texas Tech game they lost in the tournament this year.
They had them.
They only shot 5 foul shots. They were 4 for 5. Texas Tech was 14 for 18.
The Big 12 tournament game. They missed both this time. In that game, they had the Red Raiders down 8 with 9 minutes to play, and Coach Knight steered them back, Texas Tech, to victory. Went all the way to the Big 12 final, Texas Tech, and now 2 wins in this event and into the Sweet 16. Working some clock, and now Marvin Williams. He is the man today.
He has been the answer. He was in the first half. And he picks it up right there. He's got that soft shot. Here comes a reverse dribble.
Stinson has it taken away. 20 points for Marvin Williams. That ties his high game. He had 20 in the opening win against Oakland. And he's got, of course, a career-high rebound total today. Felton gives it up to May.
Well, it looks like they just want to put it in overdrive again. Just when you figure that Iowa State could make a move, and you see Stinson shaking his head right here saying they just have too many guys.
Carr steps up. And the three. Flanks long.
No place for Scott to go. Good pull back.
Felton will work it now a little bit.
Well, this would be good for North Carolina. Pull it out and make Iowa State run a little bit more before they look to take a shot.
Jackie Manuel drives. May collects. 13, it's called on Rashon Clark. Well, they're going to Syracuse, and I think they know it. Over Cincinnati last night, made it 26 Sweet 16 appearances in school history. North Carolina, we haven't added this one in yet, so they could jump right back even with them again. And we assume they will with 2:54 to go. May has also put up big-time numbers. Another double-double here, Billy. 22 points, 14 rebounds.
Jim, do you think that Duke will give him a letter sweater this year based on what he's done in the last 4 games against them? I mean, it's just, I don't think in the history of that matchup between Duke and Carolina anybody's put up numbers like 15 points, 21 rebounds, 14 points, 15 rebounds, 23 points, 18 rebounds, 26 points, 24 rebounds in the last 4 games. I mean, you give him a letter for that, right?
No, to answer your question, no, I don't think Duke will give him a letter. They might write him a letter, but I don't think they may give him a letter. And they could meet again. They could meet in the national semifinals. Who knows? Duke next up on this floor. Another rebound for Mr. May.
Well, what to do in a situation like this? This is North Carolina doing the right thing here. Pull the ball back out, make Iowa State work, and then you get an easy basket.
Marvin Williams, that's one of the few times he didn't have a full handle on it. Jawad Williams is back on the floor. You know, you think of Roy Williams. This is going to be the next step here in Roy's rebuilding of this program, and it certainly is not one that's going to take too long, because here's a team that some think already is the best team in the country coming into the tournament.
Well, I'll tell you, the year 1997, when I knew we had the best team in the country, and you'll never forget that upset we covered when they played against Arizona, Lute Olson's team, beating them down in Birmingham.
Look at Felton. He has hit some threes from well beyond the arc today.
Well, that's like the punctuation point, just as he did at the end of the first half when he stepped out and made that long three.
Yes, 15 points, 10 in this half. Blalock hit one from this spot earlier, not this time. Homan adds to his career-high rebounding total, what will be his last game, and he is, in fact, the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from Iowa State, Jared Homan. And Marvin Williams, 20 and 15. He's not on the floor right now, so unless he returns, he'll hit that number for the 3rd time this year as the high point total of his young career.
You know, he really was the difference maker today, because Homan and May might have been a Mexican standoff, you know, in terms of Homan's ability to play 36 minutes a game, May a banger on the inside, but all of a sudden that young man Marvin Williams came into the game and Homan couldn't handle the 2 of them.
Just not another big body to play alongside Homan. A banger type body, you know. We're going to see 2 bodies though on Mississippi State in this second game. Be interested to see how Sheldon Williams and Duke are able to handle the likes of Lawrence Roberts and Marcus Campbell.
This is always a good thing to do. Pull the ball back out. Make the defense come chase you if you're North Carolina. Little 4 corners set up right here. Blalock's doing a good job keeping the ball away from Felton, and there's the foul on Clark.
Clark just a little too close with the body. And that's it for Clark. He's going to foul out. Well, we've got 2 teams. We're going to put North Carolina on that next line. We've got 2 teams already set for Syracuse for sure. North Carolina and North Carolina State.
Well, they've faced each other a few times in history.
May is checking out of this one, but again, making a major contribution. 24 points, 17 rebounds.
Well, here's some history for you, Jim.
Well, you know, we had him out. Now he's coming back in. I think he thought he was out. Well, he's not quite yet. They've got 4 guys ready to come in here in a minute.
Rashad McCants on the foul line, a McDonald's High School All-American. He has a sister this year, Rashon McCants, okay, who is also a McDonald's High School All-American. The first time in the history of basketball that a brother-sister team made that. We'll probably someday have Cheryl Miller and Reggie Miller both in the Hall of Fame as brother and sister Hall of Famers. But Reggie was not a McDonald's All-American, so a little history being made in that family.
McCants coming out, Terry in. They've also brought in a bunch of subs. Wes Miller is in, senior from Charlotte. Quentin Thomas, the freshman, back on the floor. Jesse Holley seeing some action as well. C.J. Hooker will be coming in shortly. Byron Sanders, that's Terry. He certainly young player that will merit minutes down the road.
Yep, Terry is getting bigger. He's getting stronger. Miller the other day put up that shot quickly. Homan still getting rebounds and saying, hey, you guys coming off the bench, I know you're fresh. Don't bother me. If you were that good, you'd have been in here earlier.
19 rebounds for Homan.
Look at him banging in there. Boy, I love this guy. Fade away. Oh, almost.
Hit Staple. And that's just fatigue.
Yeah, you're just tired, worn out.
Up ahead, though.
And look at who's chasing him down. Homan, he just couldn't get there.
He got all the way to the other end of the floor, but Holly hammers it home. And a timeout called by Iowa State.
Roy Williams was upset, I think, that he took that shot and dunked it. He didn't want to put any embarrassing, and boy, look at Homan.
And that's Homan.
Do you love that kid or not?
What a way to close out a career.
Here you had a situation, his team completely out of it, and he ran 80 feet in an attempt to get in there to make a defensive play.
I salute the move for Wayne Morgan to be able to give not only Homan a chance to walk off the floor with his head certainly in a prideful position, but you look at the subs who get a chance to go in the books, having at least been able to get on the floor for the game, the likes of John Neal, who are out there now, Jeff Bergstrom seeing some action. Technical foul was called on Carr of Iowa State.
And Jim, when you look at the likes of Homan and the players on this Iowa State team who played so hard, as I said earlier in the show, you know, in this tournament, and I don't think I've ever seen competitive juices flow like we have in so many of these games, there just aren't any losers. With the exception of the point totals at the end of games, guys have just played so hard.
Charlie Everett now to the line for Carolina, senior from Charlotte.
The third brother in that family, and he's played from the JV team onto the varsity
for
team.
him, though. But to come home in the NCAA tournament, no less. I know Chapel Hill's not far away, but the game's here in Charlotte, and he gets to, as a senior, score in the NCAA tournament. Dave Brat also in for the Cyclones. Aaron Agnew, Dustin Streff, as both teams have emptied the benches. No doubt about the superior team in this one. It's going to be a North Carolina blowout win, advancing to Syracuse and the Sweet 16. Bergstrom, and that's taken away by Hooker. 10 players scored for Carolina Friday against Oakland. 10 more scoring today.
And Jim, this puts the Atlantic Coast Conference 7-1 in this NCAA tournament. Only the double overtime loss by Wake Forest.
And again, they'll have 2 in Syracuse alone. Here it is. Move them on. Let's get it on, they say. Carolina heading to the Sweet 16. Roy Williams, the only coach in America with at least one NCAA tournament win the last 16 years. He has said this week, instead of letting others' expectations control him during this tournament, he's going to try and enjoy the tournament more. Of course, enjoyment comes with winning, but their expectations, he certainly felt them at Kansas. You know they're here and alive in North Carolina. And his team is, I don't know, Billy, you've seen Illinois. We saw them a couple of times last week. It would be a fascinating matchup down the line if they ever got there. Illinois is #1 ranked, but I'm not sure there's anybody better right now playing college basketball than the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Well, I don't think there's anybody any deeper with quality talent than this club, but they've got to prove that they can go all the way and win 6 games.
Hey, Billy, we're going to send it to the finish